up close and personal. This is Elder Tiffiany Collier, and this is my story. I am an ordained elder at Kingdom Fellowship. I currently have the privilege of giving leadership to the Kingdom Worship Praise and Worship team, which is a part of Kingdom Fellowship's music ministry. When I'm not here at Kingdom, I am a certified substitute teacher for Jefferson County Public School System. I'm primarily at high schools, but I choose assignments at high schools, but I may be at middle schools or at elementary schools as well. When school is not in person or in session for subs, then I drive Uber. So I am your friendly neighborhood Uber driver. I've driven all over the city and a few other states as well. What can I tell you about my mother? My mother's name is Lisa Collier. She is a single mother. She raised myself and my sister, Letitia. She is one who has the testimony that she's come through great trials and tribulation. But she always wanted to be the example for myself and my sister. So she is fiercely independent. She fought her way out, away and apart from what little child support she was able to get, and fought her way free from all government assistance, food stamps and AFWC, I can't even remember what the name of that was or whatever, but the public assistance and then food stamps and, and then eventually Section 8 or whatever. She went back to school. Well, she got her GED because she didn't graduate regularly. She got a GED. And then several years later, one semester after, let's say 3 semesters after I started the University of Louisville, she enrolled as a student at the University of Louisville. And we graduated 1 year apart exactly. I graduated with my Bachelor's of Communication from U of L in fall 1989. And my mom graduated with her degree, her bachelor's degree in guidance and counseling. She had the love of God exercising in her life, and she was a praying woman and always wanted to help someone else and always wanted the love of God to be evidence in her life. And she took her walk with the Lord very, very seriously. Just loving God and loving people. And that's the example that I have, her big, unselfish, generous, compassionate heart. That's Mom. Any major diseases. She had a challenge with a minor stroke back in this like 1993, 92 or something along that line. She recovered fully from that. God delivered her from alcoholism somewhere around that same time. And she never took another drop of the stuff, and continued to move forward. Got the job with JCPS, was working and loving on her grandchildren. My sister has three kids. They're all adults now, but at the time they were younger, and just taking them around and so forth and so on. Somewhere around 2001, 2002, we started noticing changes in my mother's personality. She became a bit more paranoid, accusing her landlord of coming into her house, changing the security codes. She started saying that people were messing with her car, started believing that people were following her, as she drove around the city, and that people were following her. We took a whole family vacation, about a week, 8 days, down to Dallas, Texas in 2006. And she was convinced that there were people, it was a cadre of cars, a caravan of cars that were following her as we took this trip all the way down to Dallas, Texas, from Louisville, Kentucky to Dallas, Texas. That was weird. There were some changes in her, you know, she became a bit more forgetful. It was a little different, but she was still taking notes, writing everything down. She was still working. She was still traveling with friends. She was still paying for bills and all that kind of stuff. We noticed something significant that changed, where, you know, she was a very, very tidy individual, very orderly individual as far as, you know, space and that type of thing. And we began to notice that she was kind of hoarding boxes, papers, and all kinds of things that, you know, it was kind of unlike her, and it was a bit weird. Anyway, 2006, we visit my grandmother in Texas, and my grandmother was completely lucid. Spring of 2007, my mother gets a phone call and is told that my grandmother has Alzheimer's. I call it rapid onset because, as I said, she was completely lucid. She was giving us stuff, you know, giving us jewelry and mementos and scarves and handkerchiefs and pictures and photos and all, you know, she was at herself. And then the next thing we know, she's got Alzheimer's. Summer of 2007, my grandmother has a fall in the middle of the night and breaks her hip. So my mother has to begin a series of phone calls that she included me on. Making these phone calls when my mother's talking to the doctor, my grandmother's doctors and her nurses and the banks and the insurance people and so forth and so on, trying to get things together because my mother was about to bring my grandmother up here. She went down beginning of 2008, brings my grandmother here, puts her in a nursing home. And my grandmother stayed there until she passed away from complications in 2013. Meanwhile, my mother retires from JCPS in 2010. And once my grandmother passed away, her mental condition began to spiral. I wound up moving in with my mother at the beginning of 2014, and I was able to see the madness up close and personal. Hoarding had taken a life of its own, where now she was hoarding water bottles and gallon milk jugs and takeout containers from fast food restaurants and, you know, all this other stuff that was just not, you know, asking me repeated questions, the same question over again, telling me the same information repeatedly, accusing myself and my uncle, because they were living together in a rental property, accusing him of stealing from her because of objects that she could no longer remember where she put them. She couldn't find things. She couldn't, you know, it was madness. It was crazy, and it was heartbreaking. It was absolutely heartbreaking. It was the hardest thing that I ever had to watch and endure until that time. 2016, Veterans Day 2016, I wind up having to take out a mental inquest warrant on my mom. And I remember it was Veterans Day because the courthouse in Jefferson County Courthouse was closed for all things except bonds and mental inquest warrants. And I wound up taking out the mental inquest warrant because although she didn't want to go to the doctor and she didn't want to do a bunch of things that I was suggesting to find out exactly what was going on, she was in denial about her condition. And it finally came to a head when she wound up being evicted from the place where she was living. So when I moved her in with me, the first night that she came into my apartment, which I had gotten by then, there was an altercation. And this very sophisticated, refined, soft-spoken, elegant woman came at me, just became aggressive and assertive and just, with just very physical. Neither one of us were hurt seriously, but I mean, there was definitely something that was wrong. So that weekend, she was admitted to one of the hospitals that deal with emotional and mental issues. And after 2.5 weeks of examination, it was deemed that she was given the diagnosis of dementia. All this entire time, from the time we first saw the changes, I asked the Lord repeatedly, what is this? Is this real? Can she be healed? Are you going to heal her? Is this all in her mind or my mind? What is happening? And why won't you answer me? God, why won't you answer this question? Because he'd answer every other prayer and give me an answer about every other situation, but about this, he was completely silent. And I could not understand. I petitioned the court for a full guardianship, and the court, after examining her, declared her fully disabled and gave me full guardianship over her person and her affairs. When it became clear, because Mom, thank God, had no other problems with herself. No diabetes, no high blood pressure, no heart disease, no hypertension, no cancer, nothing. Just, arthritis and 2 bad knees. But she was completely mobile. It was a blessing, and it was also a curse, because I could not keep her safe. And she would be getting into cars with strange people and wandering all hours of the night. It became really, really dangerous. So the following summer, summer 2018, we found secure accommodations for her. And so currently she is on a memory care unit where she is safe and protected. I was sitting before the ordination council last summer and being asked about my faith and what it had done in regards to my mom, how my mom's condition had affected it. Sometimes I think about it and I want to cry. Sometimes I think about it and I do cry. But the one thing that I have learned, the one thing that I hold to, is that God remains faithful. Is that he promised that he would keep you in perfect peace, and he has, concerning this situation. He also let me know that I'm not alone, that even when Mom was going through this particular situation that I was really embarrassed about, I learned that I had a family here at Kingdom Fellowship, a team that was willing to come alongside and help in certain precarious moments when they knew that I needed a break, just a moment to be able to breathe. Someone to hold my hand and to pray for me when I was having an anxiety attack. But I had to continue to hold it together because I'm a caregiver. I am a family caregiver. And so now no longer is my mom the mom, but now I'm the mom that has to take care of her and see after her. So Mom is doing well now in the place where she is. She's doing quite well. She's safe and protected. And the facility is very communicative to me about everything that's going on with her. And I can go and see her anytime. She's safe. And if there's nothing else before I leave this world, before my mother leaves this world, the thing that I told the ordination council that particular day when they asked that question of me is that I continue to trust God. I continue to walk by faith. And if my mother, she may not remember the day of the week, what year it is, who the president is. And there may come a time when she may not even remember my name. But she does know that I am her eldest. She does know that I am a daughter. She introduces me every time I show up to the nursing facility. She introduces me to all the nurses as if it was the first time they've ever seen me before. But the one thing that I want her to know, that I pray, is that she is loved. She may not remember anything else, but I want her to know within her heart of hearts is that she is loved and that I love her. if I don't get anything else right in that life, I want to get the love thing right. Because that's the only thing that really, really matters. Now abides, the word of God says, now abides faith, hope, and love. These three, but the greatest of these is love. She may not remember facts. Her brain might not be all the way right, but her emotions, she will always remember the way that I made her feel, or that people make her feel. So as long as she knows that she's loved, I think I would have succeeded as a daughter. At least that's my prayer anyway. So. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I just want to encourage anyone, if you're a family caregiver, don't give up. You are not alone. If you find yourself caring for a spouse or a child or a parent, it's not a place where I thought I ever thought I'd have to be, but please know that you are not by yourself. There is help, there is support. And all you need to do is look around, do a little bit of investigating, and ask. And if nothing else, please know that God is there to help you. That even in our weakest points, we're strong because His strength is made perfect in our weakness. So, yeah.